Hello and happy Friday, June 19th. Welcome to another exciting edition of Rate Desk. I'm your host, Michael Thomas, here to talk about multifamily interest rates and other news. First, let's go to the markets today. The markets did move downward on news that Apple was closing stores in states where there were more COVID-19 related cases coming up. As I've mentioned before in previous episodes, the markets are very reactive on that sort of a news, so that's not a big surprise there. The good news is that for the week, the indices are up, probably about a 1% average gain for the week, which is good to see. We're also seeing the $39 barrel a range back into the 39s for crude oil futures, also a positive thing to see. Furthermore, the tightening of the U.S. 10-year Treasury yield has come down another 3 basis points. So we're looking at a 0.70 rounded, about 70 basis points rounded today for the U.S. 10-year yield. Now, let's go over to the rates. Talking about the FHA multifamily rates, I mentioned yesterday that I locked the rate at 233. Very, very low rate on the 35-year fixed 223F. The indicative range on that is still quoting at the 245 level. A live quote can definitely be different and lower. Those are very specific. So using the broad range, I'd say still think in that 240-ish range, 245. But of course, specifically on a live quote, you can actually do much better than that. And that is true on all the rates I quote. I like to give folks an idea of the middle range of the indications and always do better when we can, and lots of times you can when it's a live quote. Jumping on over to the 221D for 40-year fixed rate construction loan, that is sticking in the 3.10, 310 range. We are also seeing some stability in the Fannie Mae pricing at 290. Just to give you an example though, on that Fannie Mae pricing to get into the sweeter spot there, you are looking at lower leverage, on roughly 65% LTV, 10-year fixed rate money. Interest only is a component that is often used in agency debt. So if you're getting the best pricing, you're not doing the full term IO. Generally, you're doing the first half. So 5 years of interest only payments on the 10-year fixed rate. Jumping on over to Freddie Mac, really no change there from yesterday. Still quoting at the 306 range on 10-year money there. Now, what I want to speak with you about today is a term that I heard recently from a guy who's a futurist, and he was talking about we are in the era of the digital reflection. I've never heard it put that way before. I like that term. It just kind of, it has a nice ring to it. But it made me think about the rental housing business and what is your digital reflection. I've been to a lot of these sites. I've seen a lot of different companies marketing materials online. I'm not sure any of them really have a true digital reflection of what it's like to live in one of their communities. Let me talk about a couple things. When I go to a website in general for multifamily properties, I'm looking at features and benefits related to the physical property. So you're talking about in-unit amenities, you're talking about on-property amenities, common area amenities. Those are just features and benefits of living somewhere. But what about the soft benefits? These are the benefits that are more warm and fuzzy, if you will. Do you have the friendliest management staff? Do you have the most responsive maintenance staff? Do you have a free gardening lesson for your community garden? Do you give people starter packs? These might sound like really little things, but they go a long way in saying what is the value of living in your community? How do you value that? And subsequently, how are you going to attract folks to live there with similar values? I think that's a really interesting thing to think about. What is your digital reflection? And sure, it probably reflects, I'm going to guess, your physical amenities 1-to-1, 100% reflection there. But what does it do for your values? What does it do for what is it like to live there? Those things going forward, I think, are going to become increasingly important, especially if more people continue to work from home and if those people are in apartments. That's a really big, important thing to answer. We don't live alone in an apartment community. Okay, we live in a closer surrounding. both physically in terms of the units, but then also in terms of the campus itself. So these types of considerations do go a long way, in my opinion, of showing what the value you offer in your community. That is my thought for this week, and I look forward to seeing you back on Monday for another exciting edition of Rate Desk. This has been your host, Michael Thomas, signing off.